Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Match Reaction Live on the Toon Review YouTube channel with myself and Jade. Good afternoon, Jade.
Afternoon, Paul. How are you?
Not too bad. A bit more relieved now that the 90 minutes is over. That was an absolutely crazy game. We were absolutely garbage. There's nothing telling me there was anything good to come out of that game today, apart from the last 5 minutes of injury time. It was absolutely bizarre. The VAR handball on Wilson was an absolute farce. And then Willock creeps up with the equaliser again.
Yet again, but the kid can't get a start over Mr. Joe Shelvey, can he? It's absolutely disgusting. I just watched his kind of pre-match interview there, and he was like, "I'm happy. I'm loving my football. Even I get 10 minutes, I'm happy to come on." It's like he scored every time he's come on.
Yep. He should be in the starting lineup without a shadow of a doubt.
But of course he should. But obviously, you won't Joe Willock even before. Could have taken off a defender to put on a midfielder and put in John in defence because you don't want to take him off. It's
absolute disgrace. That is how much of a coward this manager of ours is. He's a coward and he's a disgrace because he won't bring Shelvey off, so he takes a defender off and says to Joe Shelvey, "You go and play in the back five," which he's not a defender in a million years.
He's
this playing out, but this playing out from the back. I mean, what is that all about? How many times did we lose that ball today? Just an absolute farce. Mike, good afternoon. The plastic number 9 is not only the worst player we have, but he has to be the worst player in the Premier League. It's not all Joelinton's fault today. Miggy was disgraceful again. I'm starting to get a bit fed up with Miggy because all he seems to do is run around. And a lot of people are saying, yeah, he runs around, he puts the 100% effort in. Fair enough. He doesn't do anything when he's got the ball.
I think that's the problem. Like, I was a big admirer of his because I love the way that he will run. And he doesn't stop giving his 110%. But he was missing today. There was nothing good that came from Miggy today. Yes, he runs around, but that's literally it. He's kind of like a chicken with his head cut off. He just runs around not knowing what to do at the minute. And I don't know if it's the position he's playing in or he's kind of the management, but he's just not the player that I saw last season or the season before. He's just completely missing. And yes, you can run around and give your all for the 90 minutes, but as we saw today, 2 of them came up with crampman after 70 minutes. They can't last a full 90 minutes. And he's not looking at that thinking, he's not thinking, oh, if I change it, well, run it off. That is a disgrace. Having 2 players down.
The fitness of our team is shocking. It's absolutely disgraceful.
It's embarrassing. It was absolutely embarrassing having to hear Carragher going, oh, there's another one down. Bloody hell, this
is just what it is. We just have to, accept that this is Steve Bruce's training regime and it doesn't work. Chipper says, get Willock and Wilson in the starting 11 now. Ollie says, sign him up. I mean, we've got to sign Willock. He's been brilliant. You won't beat us, VARsters. I mean, honestly, how could they disallow that goal? Because, I mean, Alisson saves it. I mean, yes, you have to agree that's the rules. It's the rules that are distinctly wrong. I mean, how Wilson is supposed to not let that ball hit his arm when his arm is against his chest and it just hits him and bounces off him. That cannot possibly be deliberate handball.
Honestly, I was absolutely furious because I knew it was coming as soon as I seen they were taking a look at it, and I saw that it did actually hit his arm. Obviously, I'm glad that the rule is changing next season. I'm glad this will be the last season we see the back of this stupid handball rule. But what was Will supposed to do? Take his arm off? Kind of just try. Oh, sorry. He was literally had no idea. And if it should have been 2-1 because they were there for the taking today. They were shocking as well. They should have been 8-9 up before we had the chances to score. And their defence was shocking. And I think it was just an awful game, really. I think for the neutrals, maybe they're thinking, oh, a goal each kind of with Liverpool coming onto us so much. But the Liverpool of last season would have tore us apart. It would have been a cricket stuck goal if it was Liverpool of last season. It was embarrassing.
I mean, the thing for me is if they'd had their shooting boots on today, it could have been in double figures. But going the other way, we've just lost Jade for a second there, but going the other way, had we actually made an attempt to attack them, we could have done a lot more. Because we know that their defence is susceptible to pace and a bit more attacking intent. And as soon as Wilson came on, they were worried. They knew that the kind of balls that we were going to play towards Wilson, he plays off the shoulder. He always does that. And he looked very, very, very dangerous. And I don't know why he didn't start. There's no way that man is not fit. Look at him come on today, just pushing himself to the limit again. Absolutely amazing. Jakes is chuffed at the end of the game, but let's not forget the 89 minutes before that. Liverpool should have had 4 at least. Yeah, I mean, 4 has been kind. They should have had a lot more than 4. I don't know why they didn't get more than 4. Jade's back again. I
Sorry.
think it's all right. Don't worry. They should have scored a lot more than 4, but they didn't. Andy Gray says he's got to start Willock and Wilson now. Unlucky handball. Couldn't really do much about that, though. However, the tune. At the end of the day, it's a point. I mean, we have to take a point. And I said to John on the watch along, I said, as long as it's 1-0, there's always that chance that Steve Bruce's luck is going to come in again and we'll get something out of the game. And it's exactly what happened. But what got me was McManaman, when we scored the goal, and he turns around and says, Bruce's masterclass has paid off again.
That was it. Yeah.
For God's sake.
I was sitting there, I shot at me TV at that point. I was like, oh, masterclass. Like, Jesus Christ, the man should have been starting. Like, if you not watched the 90 minutes previously to what we had to put up with. I say, Liverpool weren't on top form, and they were there for the taking, but that should have been the few times we got behind them. Like, the fact that Joelinton, man, fucking hell, he did everything he could have done well, and then the easiest bit, he gets it straight at the keeper. And it's like,
but how many times have we seen that, Jade? How many times have we seen that with him this season?
He still starts him.
He gets into these shooting positions and he shoots straight at the goalkeeper every time. He doesn't aim for the corners. Chippers has a good point here. Gutted Willock will be out next week because obviously we play Arsenal and Arsenal's his team. So unfortunately, we are without Willock, which is going to be a massive, massive loss. However, lad, says Kendo. James says, really hope we sign Willock in the coming transfer window. We have to. We really have to. Yeah. Michael says, what does Willock need to do to start? Do what Shelvey does and be a yes man. I mean, the fact that Shelvey went... I need to pick this up because Steve Bruce has just shown what an absolute coward he is, because he didn't have the balls to take off John Joe Shelvey today. He'd rather take off one of his 3 centre-backs and put John Joe back there. Now, John Joe Shelvey is not a central defender and never has been. Never in a million years will he be. But he still went and put him there. And for me, that just says how much testicles are missing from Steve Bruce. It's ridiculous. Potato Gamer says, John Joe got the assist. Oh, that's not even... Paul says, VAR has been the worst introduction to football. Every week it's terrible decisions for all clubs, ruining the game. It's not so much VAR this time. It was the actual handball rule, Jade.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't mind VAR if it's done right. I think the idea behind VAR is good. I really love kind of the Australian League. Do you know how you can hear the referees talking to each other, explaining what's happening. You can in cricket
and rugby, to be fair, as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why that hasn't been brought in to the Premier League by now is beyond me. They're trying to change rules that just the kill the game, absolutely kill the game. I think they were saying, like, obviously you don't get as many goals now because there's so many that's ruled offside, and it has affected every single team. And I think every team and supporter would say it's not working. I don't think the fact that VAR isn't working, it's the people making decisions because they're so scared of kind of giving off the wrong one. But from when I've been growing up watching football, the advantage is always the attacker. If you're a fingernail offside, it goes to the attacker. You're right. But it's now changed to the fact that now it's the defender. And it's just honestly bizarre how they come up with these decisions. I'd love to hear what goes on in VAR rooms when they're making these type of decisions. Again, this time it wasn't the kind of VAR offside, it was the handball rule, which is an absolutely disgusting rule. I think we got our comeuppance from the Tottenham game, really, because obviously we got the penalty when it shouldn't have really been a penalty. But it is ruining the game, and I'm really glad that they are rethinking that for next season. But just quit it now. What's it going to hurt?
I mean, I'd honestly rather see ex-players in the VAR system rather than the referees, because I think the ex-players can do a better job. They understand 100%. The game a lot better and what can happen in it. So as far as I'm concerned, the handball rule, obviously that's getting changed, and the offside one is just pathetic. That needs to be reviewed as well. Andy says, Miggy doing a headless chicken again today. Trainson said Miggy can only flourish as a centre attacking midfielder or a false 10. I still don't know what a false 10 is, to be honest. I really am baffled by that. Kendo said, good first half, dreadful second, but we will take the result. But that VAR decision was a disgrace. He took his arm into his chest. He did, but it's the rule. Unfortunately, we have to live with it. It's as bad as the rule is. That's what it is. It's the rule. And, you know, as soon as it hits his arm, you know what VAR is going to turn around and say. It's offside. End of. I mean, when Kendall says they're good first half, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Liverpool could have been 6-1 up at half time. Yeah, they should have been if they'd had the shooting boots on today, we would have been dead and buried. British Snake says, despite supporting Leeds, I actually cheered when Newcastle scored. Klopp and Liverpool have pissed me off so much this week. this is what it's come to. Yeah, well, yes, everybody's been pissed off with the snaky six, as they're known as, but it wasn't exactly Klopp and the players' fault, to be fair. Chipper says Joe Willock has gained us 8 points since he's got here, yet this season Shelvey has won us none. Pathetic. The thing is, he's never ever going to change his mind on John Joe Shelvey, because Shelvey, we know, has kissed up to Steve Bruce. We know that in interviews he said that Steve Bruce is a fantastic man management. He does all the things right in Shelvey's eyes. So Shelvey's going to play. He's got the armband. He isn't going to drop his captain. He's not going to do anything like that, even during the game when it was blatantly obvious that he should have pulled him off. He didn't, and he left him on. Now, obviously, the pundits are all going to say it was a master stroke because we got a draw out of the game, but it wasn't. It was just by pure luck we got a draw there today.
It's the players saving his arse, not him.
Yeah,
he's literally set us up to fail every single week, and then praise the footballing gods that Maxey or Wilson or Willock can save him. It's just disgusting how he's getting away with it and getting so much praise for it as well. I mean, I could talk myself blue getting angry about it, but the fact is, it's never going to change while we're under him. He's going to keep Shelvey as captain, going to keep him in. But what the hell Shelvey was doing this game is beyond me. That bloody pass back to Dubravka.
What the hell was that? I mean, you're 10 yards inside the Liverpool half, and he blasts it. It was a terrible ball as well, because Dubravka, he wasn't expecting it, and it bounced right in front of him. He had to chest it down. Mane's onto him like a flash. It was just diabolical, but to me that just sums up Shelvey's lazy attitude. He just looked up and thought, I'll just launch it back. Absolutely shocking.
And the funny thing is, the commenters were saying, Dubravka nearly messed up again. Dubravka nearly messed up again. I was like, poor kid didn't know what was coming. Like that should never have went back to him at all. No, that's the thing. As soon as we get into the opposition half, we turn around and go, Dubravka's free, let's get it back to him. It's disgusting. It's honestly disgusting play. It's not football. It's just literally
lazy, and that just sums up John Joe Shelvey at the minute. Kendo says, reckon Jota had Joelinton's boots on today. Possibly. He should have had about 4 in the first half. I know that much. Andy says, players going down with cramp, not surprised with part-time training. Exactly, and that's what we've said a million times over. It's part-time training that they do. Chipper says, fouling Bruce bottled it with that starting 11. He did bottle it. Afternoon, Paul and Jade, says Andrew. Jules says, hey, Paul, hope you're good. And hi, Jade. Great point, says Jules. Chipper says, Foreman, Bruce bottled it. We've seen that one. Jake says, I'm convinced now that ASM, Wilson, Willock and Miggy are a proper top-half Premier League strike force. If only they had a proper captain and manager. That's a very good point. Yes, Miggy was off form today, but I believe if those four can play on a regular basis, we might actually have a chance, because, Wilson is just so good at just staying on the defender's shoulder. And yes, he gets offside a lot, but that's what you want to see. You want to see him taking that risk, going early or just trying to time it to absolute perfection. And with the days of VAR, obviously, he's got to be careful now because they'll pick him up for his toenail being offside. But it offers us something different. And I just can't understand. I mean, Steve Bruce will have looked at last week and thought, right, that 11 went out there, played really well first half, and, I'll just play them again. He doesn't, what Steve Bruce doesn't do, Jade, he doesn't think of the opposition. He doesn't think, right, we're playing Liverpool this week. I can't play the same way because they'll hurt us X, Y, Z, but no, he doesn't do that. He just throws the same 11 out.
Well, again, it's standard basic management, just worked once, it'll work again. As a Premier League manager, you should be able to look at your opposition, look at their strengths, look at their weaknesses, and tweak your formation and your team around that. And he doesn't. He's literally got the least footballer knowledge I've ever seen of a man in football. Like, it'll work once, it'll work again. Of course it won't. You played Burnley and West Ham.
Yep.
West Ham, yes, same kind of thing as Liverpool. But it's a completely different team, and I can guarantee he's not looking at tapes of Liverpool thinking, right, well, this week they've done this and maybe we can do this and get behind them better. They were there for the taking today. They were absolutely shocking, and I think with a bit more attacking prowess and a bit more forward balls instead of just kind of letting their midfield had it. Thiago had an absolute field day today. He was like on a pitch by himself. He had so much time. Press him down. What did he have to lose in this game? But yet again, a subs came on and saved his arse, and he's to get all of the credit for it. And I'm absolutely sick to death of seeing pundits and ex-players get behind it saying, he's done really well, No, I could have done what he done today. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out what he's doing. And it's just, it's honestly so baffling that he still gets the credit he gets. I think I'm looking at a different thing than everyone else is.
No, you're not. You're not. The pundits.
I'm a Newcastle fan anyway.
Yeah, the pundits in the media just seem to see sort of stuff that we don't. I mean, I like you said, the substitutions were an obvious thing to do, like they were last week and the week before at Burnley. So, for me, he gets lucky with that. But, why? Surely to God, he has to understand that Wilson should have started the day. I believe if Wilson started the day, we could have possibly won the game.
100%.
Because Liverpool didn't have the shooting boots on. I'm not saying that, we could have won the game just because Wilson started. Because if Liverpool had put the chances away, the game was dead and buried.
100%.
But because they didn't, if we'd had Wilson in that first half, that incident between Miggy and Joelinton when they got tied up in each other's boots, I mean, Miggy, to be fair, should have let Joelinton take that ball in. He shouldn't have gotten in the way. And then, obviously, Longstaff was forced onto his left-hand side and Allison made the save. So if Wilson had been there, he would have broke three and scored because the Liverpool defence wouldn't have been able to keep up with him at all. Owen says, anyone else see how Newcastle didn't just give up and kept pushing? Don't know what they've put in the water recently. They did. I was pleased to see them keep going. That's something that we've been very critical of them for this season. Yeah. But they did keep going this week. Stephen and Geordie talk. Afternoon, Paul and Jade. Mark says, great show up the tune. Shymack, I believe, new on my channel. VR just commented, committed theft in broad daylight. And I'm even an LFC supporter that's disgusted by my own club after these recent events, by the way. But Newcastle should have won this game. See, it's very interesting to get a sort of Liverpool's fan view on it. And obviously, they didn't have their shooting boots on today. Salah, for some strange reason, really off his game with finishing wise. I mean, apart from the goal, yes, I mean that was absolutely world class. Took that down, swiveled, and all in one motion was just a beautiful goal. But the other chances that Salah had, last season he would have put all of them away. And, even Firmino, his shooting, Jota with his shooting, just they didn't catch the ball right. And, on other days, they would have caught the ball right and gone absolutely crazy. But Darren says Bruce Masterclass won the point.
Was really shocking. Liverpool's decision making. They were just picking the wrong option every single time. Luckily for us, but I don't know what's happened because that front four should have tore us apart that first half. They had so much space, had so many opportunities. And again, it's just pure luck that they didn't. Yeah,
definitely. Darren says Bruce Masterclass won the point. You better be sarcastic there. Jake says VAR should be hiding its influence, should be about hiding its influence, not killing the pace of the game and turn it into a start-stop basketball game. Good point. Fox says false 10 is what Muller plays. Muller plays just a basic number 10, I think. But, it could be classed as a false 10, I guess. Who's Fulham got next?
Players like Muller, do we really need to do that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't actually know who Fulham play next. And to be honest, Andrew, I don't really care. I think we're safe now. I honestly do. I think that extra point has just sunk them even further. Brian says we're staying up 9 points clear now. No chance for Fulham. I really can't see Fulham getting those 9 points. I think, other teams underneath us may still be involved, the likes of Burnley and Brighton. Certainly Brighton will be looking over the shoulders, but I think for us, we may well have just got out of that today. Chipper says, I think Fulham have Chelsea away. Yeah,
I think they've got a hard run coming up as well, hasn't they?
They have. Yeah, next to us who've got Leicester, Man City, who's at Arsenal as well. So, yeah that should be interesting.
Good times, isn't it?
Yeah. Would love the tune to sign Willock permanently. Love the kid. Yes, I mean we have to try and get him, don't we?
We do, but if I was Joe Willock right now, I'd be thinking, why? I could go and sit on Arsenal's bench. It's my home club. I go from London. I could go and sit on their bench, maybe play with them in 23s. I honestly, when I see him talk and I kind of see his post-match interviews, I honestly generally think he does love playing here and he loves his football up here. And he's saying the way we've kind of invited him in and he's loved kind of being here and talking to the fans and stuff. But any kind of smart football in Brainbury, yes, 20 million, I'd snap their hands off. But you've got to start the kid. He's a brilliant footballer. He worked his arse off the couple of minutes he was on. But for me, I don't want him to turn into one of those players that was signed with real good possibility and potential to then just be wasted. Because I think this kid could be playing for England in the next couple of years. I honestly generally think he's that good. And I love his attitude and I would really hope he does stay. But again, we've got nothing to attract him. I mean, other clubs will be looking at his performances as well. Not just other clubs will be looking and thinking, well, why don't we give a punt at him? And obviously, I think top 6 side he could probably walk into at the minute. So who knows? But I would love to have him here. Yeah, I'd love to keep him.
Well, the thing is, I mean, if we've got to try and make that deal now. We've got to talk to Arsenal now before the end of the season and try and get something in place if we are to sign him, because there will be teams that are sniffing around in the summer without a doubt. They'll see how well he's playing and they'll be sniffing about for something undoubtedly. Fanatic Fisherman clearly doesn't agree with us. Talking shit. Last 4 games we've played really well. I'm sorry. That's your opinion, but you tell me that we played well in the second half against West Ham last week. Did we play well for 70 minutes against Burnley? No, we bloody didn't. We were rotten, and it's just we've come through the games, fair enough, and we haven't given up, which is what the criticism was after the Brighton game, that we give up too easy. We put our heads down, we just disappear. But we've stayed in the games this time, and that's what's counted. But I wouldn't say we played really well. There's still a long way to go. We have to maintain 90 minutes of football, and we haven't really done that. Trainson says, shite that you can get an emotional high jumping around like a madman for it to be chalked off and emotion dropping like a lead balloon. Good job he scored straight after. I mean, you talk about 2 minutes of crazy emotions. You jump up, celebrate a goal, VAR disallow it, you sit back down, you're foaming at VAR, you look up, and then you see Willock score again. So crazy emotions.
Not for
absolutely
the same-hearted
mental.
supported Newcastle, but yeah.
Well, it never is it? It's a complete roller coaster. Andy says, never mind about Joel and John. Shelvey giving Bruce a Savloy dip. Yeah, damn right, without a shadow of a doubt. Andrew says, can see Chelsea humping Fulham, definitely. Michael would happily let Shelvey go on a free in the summer. Been like that since last season. He has, and I just don't see what he brings to the game. I don't see what he brings to the team either. He was trying to ping these long balls today that weren't coming off. And when he went back into the centre of defence, I just thought, oh, Jesus. What chance? Yeah, exactly. Jake says Jota should change his name to Joelinton. Very funny. Fanatic Fisherman, never change a winning side. Wait, okay, right. Fair enough. That's how people used to think. Never change a winning side. That's fine. But these days, with the squad sizes, etc., you don't tell me that the likes of Ferguson, Mourinho, Wenger, all the top managers, or even around today, Thomas Tuchel at Chelsea, they study their next opponents and they put out a different team. No matter if they won the week before, they'll put out a different team to play against that team because how they play different to the team you played previous. It's your opinion, fair enough, but I just think nowadays there's a lot more into changing your team, changing your formations, etc., to adapt to the team that you're playing. And Steve Bruce just doesn't do that. Willock should start instead of John Joe, clearly. What a player Willock is. We need to sign him on a permanent. He will go far in his career, absolute class. Michael then says, Wilson only seemed to be offside as much today due to passes being slow. We are terrible for not moving the ball around quickly. That's a point, isn't it?
100%. I think he was making fantastic runs, and I think he was turning around saying, like, well, where was the ball when I wanted it? The reason he was offside is because it was slow getting there. That's what I hate about this Newcastle side, is that they can't pass between each other. They can't keep the ball, and the passes that we are doing are coming too slowly. They're kind of like passing to a man instead of just getting it straight across. They'll take they'll put us through a middleman and then it'll go, and that's just too late. It needs to be faster. And it needs to be more precise. The balls that were getting thrown about today were just baffling. Felt like I wasn't watching a Newcastle like a Premier League side the way they were going on. Like Dubravka's distribution, like I thought he was excellent today. By the way, like I thought the couple of saves he made really did keep us in the game. But his distribution from a free kick, from his goal kicks, bloody hell, one went straight out, and I was like, "You're a Premier League goalkeeper. You should be better at this." And then these little ones where he was passing it from playing out from the back. I think Bruce is kind of
hopeless,
more a bit delusional, thinks he's a bit more confident than he is. Like, what in his head makes him think we have the players to do that is baffling. Every time the ball was at the feet, it was kind of like, I don't know what to do with it. I just have to get rid of it. And I think it's just far too slow. But like I say, Wilson, outstanding striker. I think one of the best we've had in a very long time. And I don't think that's the reason he's offside a lot. He is getting balls slower. But that's kind of what he does. He plays on the shoulders of defenders. So he is going to be offside. And I'm not going to hate him for that, because the ones he does get right are the ones that he takes his chances on.
Yeah, we can see the class of Wilson as soon as he comes on. He changes the thinking of the opposition's defence as well, which is Conjo says how Joelinton wasn't subbed off within the first 15 minutes. I have no idea. You know what it is? When the substitution came and he took Joelinton off, I actually said he should have took Miggy off and left Joelinton on because Miggy was just terrible today. Obama says, fair play to Toon. Liverpool didn't deserve it. Chipper says, didn't we say last night that Joelinton would start? We did. And, we had a feeling that it would go that way, and that's exactly what happened. James says, some title defence the Scousers are on. They were pants today, in my opinion. We could have got more than a point from the match had we started with a side who finished the match and took our chances. Totally agree. And that, I guess that said it all, at the end of the game, those last 10 minutes, that's what we could have had through the full 45 had we actually, decided to go for it. But we've seen this so many times with Steve Bruce that he waits until the last 10 minutes to let the shackles off, and that's what lets him down. Jake said, you're spot on, Jade. Can only use Bielsa as an example, but he only uses a couple of formations, but distributes his players to suit opposition, even during the game, even makes first half subs if needed. But there's no way that Steve Bruce will ever have the balls to do something like that. No way. Lewis says, afternoon, guys. Really glad to get a point from this, but should have been a win. To be fair, nothing wrong with the Wilson goal. And I think football fans in general will look at that decision on Wilson's goal and be just saying, right, we've had enough of VAR. That's it. This handball rule is just pants.
Well, it is, yeah. Unless you're a Fulham supporter, then you'll be cheering about it. But it's ridiculous. It shouldn't be like that. It has ruined the game completely. But it is what it is now. That's the rules. I think if we were sitting here and it finished 1-0 to Liverpool, I would have been a lot more angry. But when we always think like when we get goals disallowed, would we still have pressed? I feel like if Wilson's goal would have stood, I think Bruce would have stopped pressing and we would have pushed back. So I think 1-1 is as I predicted yet again, just saying a bit of psychic here.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
So I think 1-1 is a fair result, but because I think both teams weren't on it today. But I say what I have loved the past couple of games is that we haven't gave up, and that's the one thing that I was hating to see going about Brighton. Were head down, couldn't give a shit really, and that is the one thing that I've seen. But what's changed in them games? Matt Ritchie. Coming in, he was shouting at everyone on that pitch today. He was giving everyone a right go, and so he should, and that is a captain. But
we all know that Matt Ritchie's a captain anyway, don't we? We know that he is our captain. Tony said if that wasn't a goal due to handball, then it was a penalty due to the push. I mean, a lot of people have said about the push, but it seemed to be getting ignored by everybody. Andrew says I would definitely pay 20 million for Willock, but I reckon we could get 15 million. We'd get him for 15 million with a bit of haggling. Well, we've got two of the best hagglers in the world in Mike Ashley and Charnley at the minute. So, the possibly is definitely room for haggling. But I think 20 million is a fair price for Willock. I really do.
Right as well.
Yeah, he is. Kevin says Shelvey's finished as a Premier League player, Championship at best. Miggy has not played in his best position. VAR is utter shite. A point I didn't expect. Nearly there. I mean, yeah, we are nearly there mathematically. So we have to take the positives again from this game. I mean, yes, Liverpool didn't have the shooting boots on, but that's their fault. We have to focus on what on our team, and I guess at the end of the day, we did what we needed to do. We didn't give up. We came back and we got a point. Lee says, well, if that wasn't a goal because of handball, surely VAR should have checked for a penalty because Wilson was clearly pushed. Yes, but if we talk about VAR, I think Fernandez was extremely lucky not to get a red in the first half. I mean, when they played that again at half-time, Jade, I honestly thought, when they slowed that down, he led with his forearm, clattered into the Liverpool player, and I've seen much less red card for sendings off than that. That was just an awful, awful challenge.
But yeah, again, that's so unnecessary. He didn't have to go in like that. And then what would have happened? We were obviously 1-0 down, and then when a man down, it would have went tits up completely because we're struggling to kind of contain them as it was. And it's baffling again. But I think Lady Luck on our side on this game yet again. I think there was a couple of decisions that went our way, some that didn't. Why that wasn't kind of looked at as a push on Wilson is beyond me. Obviously, we're checking for the kind of handball, but normally they take it back. So, for example, if they score a goal and they think it's onside, they'll go back to the play before that to check everyone was onside there. So why that wasn't checked when the handball was being checked I'd love an explanation for that. But again, we will not get one because we're not getting communicated to of what the decision making is.
Yeah.
And it's again, it's baffling. But it's all kind of all the things happening to Newcastle. It seems that we always get them stupid, horrible decisions that never go our way. But luckily, Joe came in and saved the day yet again. So happier than I would have been.
Yep, without a shadow of a doubt. Beat said, brilliant result, everyone. How's that a handball? Is a crime, absolute shocker from the officials. Daniel says, Willock man of the match for 10 minutes work. Mike says he has to go. I dread next season if that idiot is in charge. Oh, God.
I don't know. That's what's worrying, isn't it?
Even, like, I mean, it frightens me that we are going to get up, one day and see this absolute tool get a 5-year extension. Lee says, Willock's equaliser felt like a winning goal. Can see Salah leaving Liverpool in the summer. Possibly. I think Liverpool, they've got a bit of rebuilding to do, but they've certainly got the right manager to do it. I think Klopp is exceptional. Lee says, win, lose, or draw, I want Brucey to go with a proper manager and the right players at this club. We would do a lot better than 15th. That's nothing to celebrate. I totally agree with that. It isn't to celebrate. I mean, this is how far we have fallen, really, when we start celebrating 15th position in the league. It's not right. David says, brilliant point, Joelinton back to his normal self. What did you think of Joelinton today? I didn't actually think Joelinton was the worst player on the pitch for us.
Well, he wasn't, but I think he should be offering a lot more than he does, especially when he's kind of put up the pitch like that. Obviously explained that he wasn't out-and-out striker, but yet you still play him up kind of, obviously had Maxi to support him today. I just don't understand kind of Joelinton, to be honest. Like, his attitude the past couple of days has improved, and I think he has tried a bit harder. I do think the stick he gets is down to his price tag, and I think if he was kind of 20 million, he wouldn't have been getting as much stick, but he's not a good footballer, if we're honest. I think the Premier League just doesn't suit his type of play. I think it's too fast for him. He's always slow to react, and that's why he loses the ball so much. But yeah, I don't think he was the worst player on the pitch today. That would go down to Joe Shelvey, as always. But no, he wasn't the worst, but he definitely wasn't the best. He doesn't really offer me anything, to be honest. I'd rather have even Andy Carroll on the pitch to kind of give us something to focus on rather than Joelinton.
Yeah, good point. Andrew says £25 million on players in summer means home bargains and Poundland shopping next season. Yeah, I mean, 25 million will get you nothing in the Premier League. Absolutely nothing. Martin says we were robbed. Again. Well, it will be. I mean, I think Ashley's already come out and said that's all that Steve Bruce will have next season is loans because there's no money. And if you can understand Mike Ashley doing that to a degree, because he's not going to go and fork out like millions of pounds on a club that he's got no interest in. He's not going to that he knows could be sold at any time. He's not going to invest millions of pounds, is he? He's going to keep as much as he wants. Thank you very much, the Dugout Football Channel, for it. Well-deserved point. If you don't take your chances, you deserve to be punished. We got lucky with our handball too. Good luck for the rest of the season. Cheers, mate. It was interesting. If you are enjoying the show, guys, please do smash the like button. And if you're new to the channel and enjoy what you're watching, do hit the subscribe button. And also, you can subscribe to both of us on Twitter. I'm at the Toon Review, and Jade's is obviously there next to our name. So give us a follow on Twitter as well. And super chats are available if you just hit the $sign at the bottom of the live chat and donate to the channel, which then donates to various charities. Tisha Boy says, wow, fuck off you guys, draw by luck. Well, thanks very much. We
that
don't care.
Better. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Knowing that you're in that kind of Raj mood, really, is that going to affect us? I don't think it is. I think it makes us smile even more. Exactly. How much would you take for ASM if sold? Oh my God. Do you know what? I don't think we'd get. I don't think we'd get more than 40 for him.
If I'm being honest, I don't think we would. But when you look at Joelinton's price tag, and he's triple the player he is.
Yeah, that's a one-off though, Jade, to be fair, isn't it?
Well, exactly.
I mean, those guys who did the deal for those guys that did the deal for Joelinton are now sitting on some beach in Malibu with pina coladas, 100%. Loving life on the commission they got from that deal.
That was.
Exactly. It'd be interesting. I mean, I don't want Maxi to go. He did frustrate me today, though, Jade. He's wonderful when he's got the ball and he's running and he's in full flow. But then he goes down and he rolls around and he's up limping and feeling sorry for himself. I don't like that side. If you can remember Ginola, can you remember Ginola or not?
I do, yeah, I remember Ginola.
Right.
Very little, but I can.
Yeah. Well, Ginola used to have the ability to be absolutely crippled, and he used to get up and get on with the game quite a lot of the time. He had the ability to skip over challenges as well. He could see them coming, etc. And I think that's what Maxie's got to learn now. He's just got to learn to get up, get on with the game, and think more positively rather than sort of going down, limping around. You know, because a lot of the comments coming in on Twitter were saying, "Oh, Maxie's made of glass," and all of this crap, and you know it doesn't look good for him when he's doing that kind of thing. You know, he's better than that in my opinion.
100%.
Right, we've seen that. Let's hope up the road bottle it today. Yeah, Sunderland. Yeah, they are bottling it anyway. The last few games. IJ drinking from a wine bottle.
No, it's just a bird, just a little bird.
Yes, Budweiser, the classic king of beers. It has to be said.
Maybe later.
Yes. Oh, God help the world. Jill Jane says thanks. You're welcome. Ethan said, "What did I say, Paul? Steve Bruce, manager of the month, possibly." Right, Ethan? No. Let's get that straight. You did come on to John's watch along. Well, maybe he probably will because of the but
his little friends.
Well, yeah. But I know that's a good point. You did say that it was always susceptible to a draw, and while it was 1-0, I did say that as well. And I think you know, any football match that goes 1-0 and the team that's leading there don't take their chances like Liverpool today, you're always at the risk of conceding late on and getting kicked in the knackers, and that's exactly what happened to Liverpool today. Andy said, "Grr, man." Okay, 20 million for Willock is a steal. Throw Joelinton in as well. Wow, yeah. Can you imagine that? That would be a bargain because we'd actually get 20 million.
Joelinton.
Well, obviously not, but you never know. Dubravka was man of the match today. Definitely. Thiago was okay, but never man of the match. Yeah, I thought Dubravka played well. I mean, the saves he had to make, you could say we're simple ones for a keeper of his quality. I do agree that. You know, he did make some good saves today, but he's been good since he's come back. He looked shaky early doors, but he's got himself back to match speed now. Bindu says, "I'll say it again, do everything to keep St. Maximin." Yeah, I mean, we have to, but you know, when we've got an owner like Mike Ashley and somebody comes in with a massive offer, you know what Mike Ashley will do, and that's the worry we have with every single Newcastle player who suddenly starts doing well for this club. It all turns to shit because Mike Ashley just thinks of profits. Jake says Bruce didn't put out a winning side because he never starts the players who make a difference. Yeah. Interesting.
He plays to draw every single game, and if he gets anything else out of it, he's ecstatic. But then again, Bruce will get the credit for that. It's ridiculous. He puts his team out to draw every single time. Even when we're at home against the likes of like Burnleys and West Hams, he put 11 men behind the ball and hoped we'll get a counter with Maxi. Like, you shouldn't be playing like that. I know obviously home and away doesn't matter at the minute, but it does frustrate me so much because, again, Liverpool today were massively there for the taking, and we got in behind them a good few times. And if we were sharp enough, we should have took those chances and we could have won the game quite comfortably. Because of obviously the fact that Liverpool didn't have their shooting guns on, like you said, not our problem. We should be taking advantage of that. And that's what annoys us, that Bruce hasn't got the balls to take advantages of teams that aren't doing so well. And we could have been away from this situation that we're in weeks ago if he'd done that. But like we've all said, he hasn't got the balls to do so.
I mean, people are saying that he should have changed it at half time. There was no way. You know, Steve Bruce does not make changes at half time. You know, if you look back
to the 95th, that's his sweet spot.
he just seems to leave it as long as he possibly can before needing to change it. Paul says would love to sign Willock, looking like a class act, but from the form Arsenal's in, they'll probably want him back, and doubt Chunky Chops would spend the 20 million. It's a good point. I mean, I was led to believe when the Willock deal was getting done, it was going to be a 2-year loan. So I was disappointed that it wasn't. But even if we get him on loan again next season for the full season, I think he could make a difference. David says Willock can't play next week. We know that, mate. He's obviously playing his parent club and he can't, which I think is a stupid rule. I really do think that is a stupid rule.
Like he's going to not perform because he's playing against Arsenal. Like, they're all professionals. He's
a Newcastle player.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's on loan from Arsenal, and if anything, he'd have a point to prove. To his parent manager.
I understand it, like the FA Cup and stuff and games like that. If you've played for one team, you can't play for the other. But Premier League games, that's the rule that's always baffled me. Because like you say, he's want to go and prove himself against Arsenal to say, like, look what you've let go. I am good enough. And I think he would have been a massive help. But my worry is who's he replacing him on the bench with?
Oh God! Well,
That's the
yeah. We'll not even
Matty,
let's not
hopefully,
let, yeah, let's not even think about that yet. John says, John Candy. I wonder if it's the actor, but it won't be because he hasn't got a very good look about him. Sadly passed away a few years ago. Brilliant actor, so it won't be him. But John says, glad to see ASM playing 90 minutes and still looking sharp late on. Murphy's improved a lot in his wing back role. And yeah, I've said this all along with Murphy. I believe that we could have genuinely found a guy to fill in and actually make that right wing back position permanently his. I think he's the more he plays there, the more he gets used to the role. And the guy can motor up and down the wing. He's got a good cross on him, and his defending will get better in time. I think his passing out from the back kind of needs improving as well. But you could say that about the whole back five today when they tried to play out. But
do you think defensively he was outstanding today? I think he didn't let much past him. He was always kind of first to the balls. He was blocking crosses. And if I'm honest, I think he would be my man of the match because I think he kept kind of Robertson quiet the whole game. He didn't get much against him. And even his pace, he took them on and he was getting up and down. And after 90 minutes, he was still running up and down that pitch. And I think it's just his commitment and his ability to get up and down the pitch without much bother will make him a fantastic wing back. But again, if we can keep him, that's the thing, because you know how it works at Newcastle. I mean, I think he probably will get a new contract. But
he has to, surely.
He has to, but I still haven't heard anything actually about Gale. I know there was rumours.
No, nobody knows. But then again,
I'm not bothered.
You know what it's like, Jade? Us Newcastle fans, we're treated like mushrooms, kept in the dark and fed shit. So we just have to wait and see on that one. Andrew says, definitely give Murphy a new contract. Blitz says, Maximan needs to be more careful, as a few dirty more challenges, and something bad may happen. Yeah, I mean, they're going to target him. But when you've got a manager coming out in his press conference saying that he's got a dodgy ankle, as an opposition manager, you're bound to say, right, let's go, lads. Hard tackles, win the ball, but make sure you go through the man as well. It's blatantly easy. But your manager comes out the day before and says, oh, he's got a dodgy ankle. What are you supposed to do as an opposition manager? Unbelievable. Lewis says, Longstaff and Shelvey are a bad partnership. I prefer Shelvey to Longstaff with Willock, even though others may not agree. Again,
I prefer Shelvey to Longstaff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
People's opinion, Jade. They have one. We may not agree with it, but fair enough, Lewis. That is your opinion. Tony says Shelvey's 70-yard back pass should ensure he is dropped for next week. Well, we spoke about that before. I mean, it's absolutely dreadful. Andy says VAR reminds me of my ex-girlfriend, always watching and always getting it wrong. Oh, dear me. Realbot says, Liverpool, sign Willock, 85th, 82nd, and 95th minute goals. Okay. Senshi says, if the hand doesn't play the ball, was a fair rule, then they'd change it. I mean, it's just a bizarre one because you've got handball always used to be, is it deliberate? Is it a deliberate attempt to handle the ball? And you cannot possibly say that Wilson knew anything about that because it happened in a split second. Allison made the save. It bounces off Wilson's arm, which, by the way, was tucked into his stomach, and he couldn't really do anything about it. It's pathetic. Andrew says, Andy, are you Barry's pal who lives at the top of the wind turbines? I believe it is, Andrew. But those wind turbine shots are a lovely view. Wouldn't get me up there for any amount of money in the world, but never mind. James says we only need 4 points to reach the magic 40. Didn't think I would have said that a couple of weeks ago. Just goes to show what a few good results can do. Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, Jade, the results have been good. And we've said all along that we'd rather have the results at this stage of the season than the performances. And yeah, the performances have been good in patches, but mainly not. But we said weeks ago we'd rather have results.
100%. I would never have thought I was sitting here with 2 wins and a draw. After a few weeks, if you asked me, I'd be like, no, we'll lose, maybe get 1 win from Burnley, and I think we'd lose the other 2. And I think we've kind of turned into a bit of a tenacious side that kind of knows that they're fighting for now. It kind of clicked after the Brighton game, I think, where they think, right, well, we need to start giving it a go. And obviously now they have, and they can show that. Again, lucky, but like I said a couple of weeks ago, I couldn't care less. If we played absolutely shite for 90 minutes and Willock comes on and scores a 91st minute equaliser, because at this point in the season, we know we're not very good football club. We know we don't play nice football, and all the things that matter right now are the results. And luckily, I don't know how it's happening, but the have seem to be going our way. And that's all I care about at the moment, that they keep going our way and that we get as far away from this relegation position as possible, because this club, bottom line, cannot go down. Because I think if we do, it'll be an absolute disaster. And I think it's going to kind of roll and we won't come back again unless there is a takeover. But I think, I couldn't care less at the minute. Like, yes, we can go and help everywhere, but the result is what matters right now.
I think Senchi's having a crazy day. Lone bent 11 rows again. I don't know what planet you're on today, Senchi, but it's clearly not ours. Andrew says Joelinton would probably do well in Serie A, possibly. I think he'd do well in France, to be honest. I think France is probably the league, like Ligue 1 is where he'd probably be better suited. Leon says VAR works fine in all the other big leagues. It is shocking that the Premier League, due to refs, etc., being dodgy. Funny how they said no foul from Trent Alexander-Arnold on Wilson. Yeah, I mean, we saw one in the, with Joelinton as well. I mean, they said he was because he was backing in, but you have to move backwards to try and head the ball.
Get away with that though, that's what he did. He backed in and then fell forward. Obviously, the game's changed now, but as a striker, of course, you're going to go back to try and get the ball, and it's just it's baffling, these decisions that are being made from, I honestly believe, from people that don't understand football. I think it's literally, haven't got a clue how this game works. They're just making ridiculous decisions.
Exactly. Chelsea fan, happy camper this afternoon. I bet you are. Liverpool pressing on the top four, but unfortunately they didn't get the 3 points they needed today. Yeah, exactly. We says Senchi, obviously, some kind of French planet she's on, or he. I don't know if Senchi's male or female because I can't tell. And it's a cartoon character. Andrew says, Senchi Bat, where is Danny Rose these days anyway? Probably stuck in a fish shop somewhere eating fish and chips. Last time I saw a photo of him, he didn't really look fit. But then again, did he really look fit when he played for us as well? James says, who would really be surprised if we don't sign Willock, though? I think 20 million is a steal, but you just know Ashley won't pay. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll actually maybe see something. We never know. David, good afternoon. Surprised Jade is looking so fresh after a wine fest. Great result.
There's one glass.
I like how you drink.
I can drink a lot,
Yeah, you drink one glass of wine and everyone assumes it's a bottle and a half or two bottles. Dale says we got robbed today. I'd take a point at Anfield anyway, though. I mean, I don't think had Wilson's goal scored, gone ahead. Sorry, I don't think we would have won the game because that extra time wouldn't have been added on. I think, by the time they celebrate the goal, they got kicked off, it would have finished 1-1 anyway. So I don't think we can say we were robbed. We were robbed of an equaliser, basically, but we went back and got the equaliser, but there wasn't enough time to go and score another goal because the added time from, that VAR review was what got us the equaliser. So Jake says, I think it's more accurate to say Liverpool robbed themselves. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Totally shot themselves in the foot time after time after time. Apparently Danny Rose is in the under 23s at Spurs waiting to get on the pitch for Mason. Interesting. David says Shelvey player of the season, lol. Yeah, you better be lolling, David, because you came out with some of the bollocks, Mike, during that watch along, I have to say. Saying that we played well, etc. And that Shelvey was man of the match, but I'll let you off. Tony said, Jade, please don't talk about Bruce's little friend. That is not a good mental image. Fair enough. Dale says now Wilson's goal should have been allowed. Of course it should. Jake says it shouldn't. It should absolutely, but then Willock wouldn't have scored. Still would have ended 1-1 and a good point. But Liverpool should have been out of sight by half time. If it was last season, Jade, Liverpool would have been at least 5 ahead at half time, wouldn't they?
Oh, 100%. Obviously, I don't know what's happened this season to them. I don't know if it's a kind of a bit of the fans not being there or something that's affected them, but that Liverpool side last season would have literally tore us apart, and it would have been 6-7 by the time we even got to half time. The front four were just very slow to react to things, and I think, like I said before, they were making the wrong decisions. But again, we shouldn't be thinking about that. Like, that's their fault, not ours. We should have been kind of capitalising on that a lot earlier. If I was Bruce at half time, I'd be thinking, do you know what, God, guys, these aren't up to it. These aren't kind of on top of how things used to be. So why don't we give it a go? We're 1-0 down. What have we got to lose? But again, he wouldn't have done that. He'd be like, right, everyone behind the ball, let's try and get a counter. But yeah, I was really, really shocked to see Liverpool today, because I think the chances they had, how they only scored 1 goal is beyond me.
Yeah, you'd expect them to smash the net, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Matthew said one more win. I think we're safe. I can't see any of the bottom three getting out of it now. I'm going to order an Italian takeaway soon to celebrate. Well, you enjoy that, Matthew. Sean, how are you today? We're good, thank you, Sean. Hope you're good as well. Lamb tikka masala's all round, says Matthew.
As long as you're buying.
Yes, exactly. The only cup Steve Bruce has won is the Diarrhea Cup. That's not a nice thought. Happy feet. I think we should get more points in the last 2 games of the season. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident we'll beat Sheffield United at home now. I really am. I think Sheffield United, many people, including me, said a while back that, once their relegation was concerned and the pressure's off, you'll probably see them win a couple of games towards the end of the season. Yeah. But I don't believe that, they'll beat us at St James's. I mean, I may end up with egg on my face on that, but I genuinely believe we'll beat Sheffield United. So for me, I think, we're safe, but we can't play like we're safe, if that makes any sense, in the next few games. I don't want to see us just bending over and letting these teams whip us across the backside and score 4 or 5 against us, which will be embarrassing.
Yeah, you've got to keep the intensity up. We can't kind of think we're safe because mathematically we still aren't. Although it will be very hard for Fulham to kind of get momentum and get the points needed to catch with. We cannot play to think that we're safe. We need to keep this up, keep going. And I don't expect much out of the next couple of games. Obviously, Arsenal, Leicester, Man City, but there's no reason not to give it a go and not to get spanked all over and have them score 5, 6 against us. Because that goal difference may actually come in very useful at the end of the season. I think we're miles away from Fulham at the minute. I think ours is a lot worse. But there's no need for that to get any worse. We need to kind of keep it compact, keep the score down as much as possible, and then again counter have a goal. But I say, if I was Bruce and I was looking at these next 3 games, I'd be like, we've got nothing to lose. We're not expected to win, so just have a go. The great masterclass. We've got to defend well, but also attack. So I hope he takes his own advice and actually makes his team do that.
That's the thing. I mean, these games that are coming up, everyone expects us to get a hammering. So it's a perfect opportunity for us to actually go and give it a go instead of sitting back. Happens, go for it. My mouse has stopped working. Why? Oh, there we go. It's working again now. Matthew says, Jade looks to be enjoying a Budweiser. How can he? Happy Feet then says there's secretly whiskey in Jade's bottle. I don't know why they get an impression that you're some sort of alcoholic here, Jade. I know.
Well, at least you can enjoy your beverage on a sunny Saturday afternoon after a good draw, guys.
Exactly.
Don't be jealous.
Dale said we got well and truly robbed. They stole our radios. Now. Let's not get... Brian said, did Newcastle have a goal disallowed? Yes, we did, Brian, funny enough. It was a terrible decision by VAR, but that's what it is. Technically, we had 2 disallowed because we had one in the first half when we got one disallowed for offside, which was miles offside, but, technically it was a disallowed goal. Bruce Wayne, wow, Batman. There'll be a statue outside the ground of Bruce and Ashley next year. That wouldn't surprise me. Ashley would probably pay for them to be built himself. Matthew says, breaking news, Steve Bruce arse erupts with explosive diarrhea in the changing room. Yeah, he's never explosive about anything. No. King Lee says pretty much safe, definitely. I don't think there's enough bronze in the world to make statues of those 2. Wolves v Burnley is on BBC tomorrow. I think if Wolves win that game, Burnley may be back in the dog's house again. Wolves haven't been great this season either, but I think they've just got enough points recently to stay out of trouble. I was joking with you, said David. That's all right then. Gordon, good afternoon to you. Afternoon. 2 point is a point, but we should have won it. But VAR ruled out a handball. But we've said that, Gordon, if that goal had stood, there wouldn't have been enough time to get a second anyway. David said, I was surprised the players celebrated with Bruce. Is the rift just paper talk? Look, we never know what goes on behind the scenes. There's clearly been unrest there this season, without a doubt. Is it nice to see your players running up the manager and celebrating all as one? Damn right. I would rather see that than, rifts coming out in the press and making Newcastle United look terrible again. I'd rather that there was a unity there. And clearly over the last few games, there definitely has been a fighting unity and a desire to win, or maybe it's not to win, but a desire to stay in games, which we've seen. So, yeah. John says Super League, you're having a laugh. Chippers, Fulham have to win all 5 games. They have only won 5 games all season. Yeah, well, that pretty much says it all. We'll just finish off the comments before the end of the show. Gaz says you should see the look on the face of the match official. It's like they were not getting paid. Rich, good evening, good afternoon. Our man saving you guys again. Yes, he did. Thank you very much. But Arsenal didn't want him, so we'll take him. Shelvey looks like a buzzard. Interesting. Favorite Indian restaurant, Paul? Well, there's actually one called the Asher in South Shields, on Ocean Road. Absolutely tremendous. Chipper says Arsenal are very beatable. We shouldn't be scared of them. Well, I definitely don't think we should be scared of Arsenal because they've been playing absolute tosh lately and obviously lost to Everton last night. David says, I love Joelinton. Yeah, okay. You've got his shirt, so you can't even get out of that one. John says Southgate's got his number. He's taking him to the Euros. Joe Willock. Oh, I don't know. I think Ishank wants the Glazers out of Man United, judging by look at all of this coming in here. Glazers out. Wow. So many coming in about, I tell you, they're not happy with the Glazers. John says, looks like Liam Gallagher was having a champagne supernova by his tweets on Twitter today. Maybe. A lot of Ashley's out coming in now, just spamming. The drink Jade's putting away is one step away from a park bench sesh.
I've literally been sipping the same bottle.
Yes, I know, Jade, but you will start getting the reputation that every time you're on camera, you've got an alcoholic beverage in your hand. You will start getting the reputation.
That's fine. I can handle it.
Exactly. Right, that's it for Match Reaction Live today. Thank you for everyone that's joined in the comments and gave your opinions on the match. It's been a very, very strange game of football this afternoon, but the bottom line is we've come away with a point, and that's what all that counts. And it's a point towards Premier League safety, which I pretty much now think we've done and dusted. But until it's mathematically safe, then you never know with Newcastle United. Like Jade said earlier on, it's a complete roller coaster ride with Newcastle United, and always will be, to be honest. I'll be back tomorrow night at 8:00 with the very calm, the very surreal, the very crazy Four Horsemen of the Toon Show. 2 hours of utter, craziness on a Monday night. So don't forget to tune into that. If you're easily offended, then I wouldn't bother watching, but never mind. But if you want a good laugh on a Monday night, that is 100% the show to watch. It'll cheer yourself up after, a Monday at work or Monday at college, whatever it may be. And you're thinking, oh God, it's the start of the week. This show will always guarantee to cheer you up. And myself and Jade will be back at 7:30 on Tuesday night with Fan Forum. As usual, the link to join the show will be in the comments. Click on the link, you'll come into the waiting room, and I'll be able to see you and bring you on and have a chat with me and Jade about the game. And if you think that Newcastle United is safe, what did you think of the team selection, the substitutions, the formation? Let us know, have a chat with us, and we'll see what your opinions are of the game. But in the meantime, guys, have a fantastic rest of the weekend. Enjoy having your drinks. I'm sure Jade already is, according to you lot. So, we'll see you. Me and Jade will see you again on Tuesday night. In the meantime, take care. Good afternoon.
Guys.
Be strong.